Titanfall 2. Some of you may be familiar with this game, and some others not so much. There may also be a few of you who have played Apex Legends, another game that is set within this universe, and have seen references through lore or legends that directly correlate to the story and universe of Titanfall. But at the end of the day, this game in 2022 is almost dead. Its initial game launch was in the fall of 2016, and at the time it was competing with releases such as Battlefield 1, Infinite Warfare and Overwatch, so to no one's surprise, it was overshadowed and ended up underperforming in sales, resulting in the general audience moving on quite quickly and the developers, to no fault of their own, slowing down content release until they moved on to their next game. But it's not to say that this meant the game was bad. In fact, quite the opposite, and I'm here to talk about why I love the game and why I wish it had a bigger player base. The biggest factor I wish to talk about, and which many fans of Titanfall or Apex in some regard can attest to, is the gameplay. In my opinion, no other multiplayer FPS game has movement mechanics as fluid and paired as perfectly with the gunplay as Titanfall. And I would go as far as to even say that Titanfall is where all the modern movement mechanics even came from. And we can see this going back to the first Titanfall entry back in 2014 and the impact it had on the FPS market, to the point where one of the biggest FPS franchises, Call of Duty, began to implement identical movement techs into their future releases such as Advanced Warfare, Black Ops 3 or Infinite Warfare. Titanfall introduced movement mechanics such as sliding, double jumping, wall running, wall jumping, grappling hooks, as well as a momentum system which allowed you to increase your speed and traverse quicker if you successfully chained movements together. Overall, you weren't getting a similar experience in any other game, with the closest being movement shooters like Unreal Tournament. The gun selection is also very diverse, going from your typical FPS selections ranging from your standard submachine guns and assault rifles to snipers. However, it came with the addition of energy-based guns such as the charge rifle, devotion or L-Star, each of which had different functionalities and handled differently compared to your normal shooter. All weapons also had your typical unlock system combined with a handful of attachments to unlock, and there was also a prestige sort of system that came with the game which allowed for replayability within the gameplay loop. You also had a few unique ordnance grenades that were extremely fun to use with the guns, such as gravity stars, arc grenades, and fire stars. And additionally, your pilot could also equip a special tactical, such as a grappling hook, which a lot of you would probably be familiar with, a pulse blade, which is like a sonar blade, a cloak and more, allowing you to further customize your kit for the playstyle that you wanted. And some of these items may sound familiar to a few of you, and this is pretty much because they were drag and dropped from Titanfall into Apex Legends. And I'd say that's one of the main reasons as to why Apex was successful, since Titanfall already did the hard part of coming up with a unique selection of gear to use, and Respawn had to just implement this into a BR format. However, there is one main feature of Titanfall 2 I haven't even mentioned yet that wasn't transferred over to Apex. The Titans. Titans were the defining difference that allowed the Titanfall franchise to stand out in the oversaturated FPS genre, allowing players to summon in a mech mid-game, granting them access to new abilities and weapons, either fighting against the pilots or even Titan v Titan combat as well. And playing in these Titans gives a whole new rush that you get facing off against a Titan in a 1v1, or running away from pilots chasing you with their jetpacks and movement whilst you're on 1 HP. It's a rare feeling that you get in these sorts of scenarios, and in general gameplay as well, that is sort of missing in other FPS shooters. There was also a wide array of choices for you to make, with there being multiple different Titans with different abilities and skill sets, each with their own weapons and abilities, but each Titan would at least have a primary weapon and 4 abilities: ordnance, tactical, defensive and core, with the core simply being an ultimate ability. And in the player customization menu, you'd be given the choice to swap a Titan's quote-unquote kit, which simply changes how one of the abilities works and just further allows you to cater the Titan for your playstyle. Some of the examples of the Titans you can play: Scorch, for example, a Titan focused on fire and dealing area damage, or Ronin, a samurai-like Titan with a sword that dashes and thrives especially in close encounters, and in my opinion is one of the most dangerous threats in the hands of a veteran. I also admired the maps. Maps were very intricately designed to allow for both pilots and titans to have equally engaging combat without unfair routes or advantages to one side. It allowed for pilots to fight back against titans without the threat of immediately getting one shot or run over. For example, one could approach this in an aggressive manner, using movement to get close to the titan and then jumping on top of it and dealing damage to the titan that way. Or you could play it safe inside of a building and use anti-tank weapons that are included in your arsenal to fight back at a distance. Having a balance between battling titans and pilots is very difficult, but I'd say that Titanfall 2 pretty much nailed it and has a high enough skill cap where you can dominate as either a pilot or a titan, even both. And the maps themselves were facilitated to helping you improve and survive by giving you various routes, different options, and just allowing you to mainly use movement to traverse the map. Pretty much just set a skill gap that was fair and balanced. I'm not sure how the map design team did it, but they did an insanely good job at creating detailed maps which not only look vibrant and part of the Titanfall universe, but also gameplay orientated, with each map catering to different playstyles, whether it's stealthy or aggressive, whilst also keeping the flow of the game quick and addicting. I personally can't think of a bad map in this game, and I'd probably struggle even more to think of a favourite map, because for me personally they all have their own charm to them, and I have my own memorable moments with each of these maps. The single player campaign in this game is also severely underrated in my opinion, but recently people have been checking the single player out and it's been receiving a lot of well deserved praise. Me personally, I thought it began a little bit slow, but it made sense considering it acted as a sort of tutorial to help you get familiar with the movement and gameplay, since it is quite different to your typical shooter. But it quickly picks up around the halfway point and you go from mission to mission doing a lot of things. I don't want to spoil it, but I'll just say that the final acts is one of the best I've played in like a FPS shooter. It's the perfect ending, and if you have got the game and you haven't played the campaign, I would strongly suggest you try it out because you won't regret it. So I may have missed a few things here and there, but generally every Titanfall 2 player you come across will probably be able to tell you everything that's good about this game, considering its community is one of the most devoted and welcoming groups out there. And my goal with this video was to help inform those who haven't tried this game out to perhaps give it a thought and try it out. If you are seeking a movement FPS shooter, or you just like FPS shooters in general, I'd say Titanfall 2 is one of the best games you can pick up if you haven't already. Especially now, I'd say is one of the best times to pick it up, considering it's on sale for £4 for the winter sale, which I think finishes on the 5th of January. So, and there is a decently active community right now. It's not optimal, but it's always maintained a sort of respectable level where you can, it may take a little bit of a while, but you will find a game to play. Whilst we may not be getting a Titanfall 3 anytime soon, considering the success of Apex, myself and likely a lot of people are left with rumours and teasers from Respawn holding out for the day that they eventually come back to their roots, but chances are the earliest they will release is 2025. So in the meantime, I know I'll be hopping on Titanfall 2, and it'll be great to see some of you guys hop on as well. So if you guys enjoyed, please leave a like, subscribe if you can. Please also let me know if you've got any other recommendations you want me to check out that I can look into. Currently, I'm planning on doing a video on the other TF2 that exists out on Steam. And if you know, you know. So, I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.